So we're getting pretty comfortable with common HTML elements we can add into our website. And we've gotten to a point where we're starting to kind of make our websites look good through the use of different properties, editing different element attributes and stuff like that. But it's getting annoying now. It's getting annoying because I have to keep typing all this stuff, all this orange font. This is how I've been customizing my websites, making it look different. It's getting annoying, and I don't want to keep typing all this. So it's about time to introduce the second language for this course. I know, pretty early. We've worked with HTML, which is a markup language, and it's basically the backbone. It's the structure of an online document. Now we're going to introduce cascading style sheets, CSS for short. CSS is a sheet style language, and a sheet style language is used to basically describe how the markup language is going to look. So we've got the HTML, which is the backbones. It's the structure of the website. And now we have CSS, so we can make things look pretty. And you've already used CSS. We've already used CSS, just not in a formal way. This style attribute here for my elements, that is cascading style sheets. This is called inline CSS because I am defining CSS within an element inline my document. And it's kind of the worst way to do CSS. Not the worst way, but it's the most tiresome way to do CSS. So I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do a different type of CSS. We've also have internal CSS. Notice my style tags here inside my head tags. I can put styles inside these tags internally within the same document. So that's why it's called internal CSS, because we are in one single document. We are in my index document. So this is called internal CSS, and we can define stylings. Here we've just worked with font. But the most useful CSS, and the one that we're going to try to use moving forward pretty much in all of our websites, is called external CSS. So I just blabbered on there for a while. Let's put this into action here. All right, so here is a new workspace with an empty HTML document, or at least the structure of an HTML document with nothing in it. I'm going to show you how CSS works because it's super helpful and it's super useful to do it this way. So in my very minimalistic websites, I have some text. Let's take a look at how that looks. Nothing too fancy. So what I can do is I can do some external CSS, and I can do this moving forward pretty much for all of my websites to make things look pretty and nice and easy and all that good stuff. All you need to do is we need to create a new file within this folder. And we're not going to create an HTML file. We're going to create a CSS file. And by convention, it doesn't really matter what you call this file, but everyone calls it style.css. Style is the name of the file, and .css, that's the cascading style sheets file extension. So that will allow you to create a CSS file. And the beautiful thing about CSS files, and when you're adding styles, is you don't need to do any of this doc type, HTML head, all that stuff, all that structure stuff we have in our markup HTML language. You don't need to do anything here except just define how you want your website to look and how you want certain elements to look. Now the only thing we have to do is I have to link these two files together. Because I know they're in the same folder, but they don't necessarily know that they're working together to create a website. So in your HTML document, we can go over to the head section because it's best placed here. And we can type this. We can go link rel equals, style sheet. Basically telling HTML, hey, we're going to give you a style sheet here. So prepare to make this website look pretty sick. What type of link will this be? Well, this is going to be a text/CSS file and our lovely href attribute we've used before to define a location. And this is just going to be the title of your CSS file, which should always be style.css. And I'm missing my little angle bracket. So this is the thing you got to remember. I mean, not anytime soon. It'll get burned into your brain. Now these two documents are linked together. These two, my HTML document knows that I need to fetch some styles here. But I don't have any styles. I've got an empty CSS document here. So how do you style things in your website? How do you use this style language to make things look pretty? Well, I've only got one element on my website, and it's a paragraph element. So this is how you'd style it. You would identify what you're trying to style. And for now, this is going to be done by element. So if I want to style a P element, I can just type P. And then I open up a set of braces. And it looks nice when you press enter and you split those braces up on separate lines like that. Now, anything I type inside these braces, as long as it's, proper stylings and not just a bunch of gibberish, will style my paragraph element. So let's use some stylings that we've used before. We've defined an element's color before. So you could type in color, colon, and you've got all of these default colors. So let's go green. And then semicolon. So this is a style I have chosen for my paragraph element on my HTML document. So with everything saved, all my files saved, if I take a look at my website now, you can see that my text is green. So I know what you're saying. That's a whole lot of work for something we just did pretty easily before. But this is a very simple website. Let's complicate it. Let's add in some more text. Missed a space, that's okay. There's some more text. Let's copy all of this. Let's say our website's getting pretty in depth. Now, look at my website. All of these paragraph elements I just added to my website all have green text, all have a green color. Why? Because I have decided that every paragraph element on my website is going to be the color green. And this may be a lot to take in one video, so let's just show one more cool thing. So let's say I've got headers on my website. Got an H1 header. I've got an H2 header. Let's see how my website looks now. I want all this to be green. So do I have to stylize my new H1 and H2 headers to do that? I could. I could do one of these numbers. I could do the exact same thing, except say I want my H1 elements to be styled in the color green. And now if I look at my website, my H1 is green. And I could do the same thing. I could say H2, color, green. And now my H2 is green. Or if I want all the text on my website to be green, or sorry, I want all of my elements to be green, I could do one of these numbers. I've seen thousands of hours saved from people's lives by doing this simple trick. I could say, hey, I want to style my P elements, comma, and I want to style my H1 elements, comma, and I want to style my H2 elements. And if I go to my website, everything stays green. Everything is green because I want my P's, my H1s, and my H2s to all be the color green. So hopefully you can see or predict the tidiness of using CSS moving forward, as opposed to having to worry about styling within your HTML document. Because as our websites get more complicated, as they have a lot of elements, it's nice to be able to have your HTML document nice and structured so that you're really only worrying about the elements and where they're located and just the general layout of your website, and not having all of that orange text, all these styles in here kind of cluttering everything. This document is a lot harder to read than something like this. This is nice and clean. The text inside, not so much, but that's my own doing. All right, cool. There is your second language, and we're only like a week in, so good stuff.